Goldylocks Productions broadcasts universal cosmic frequencies that unlock, awaken, and expand the consciousness of our worldwide viewers and listeners.
Goldylocks Productions presents the Inspiration from Spirit show with your host, Reverend Lea Chapin. The focus and goal for this show is to assist humanity in the awakening of a new level of consciousness that will bring peace to planet Earth.
Welcome. This is Lea Chapin. I've been gone for a couple of weeks. I've been playing with my friends. My two guests that I have today, Pam Wisniewski and Joanne Gall. They're here as my special guest today, but I want to say thank you for all that have been following me for the past several weeks since I've been here with Goldylocks Productions. Again, I want to thank Tiffany for her patience and her kindness. She's an amazing, amazing producer. And so I'm so grateful for this opportunity. So thank for all those who are following me and all those new listeners. We do have a new format today for the Goldylocks production. If you are listening and if you do want to ask a question, you are limited to one question only. If you do wish to seek further assistance and like to have a reading with me or with one of the show guests here, then just contact us by email and let us know what you need. We'll be glad to help you privately. But today is just one question only. So today I just want to introduce my special friends. They world now, Pam Wisniewski, or Pam Silver Eagle, is up in Erie, Pennsylvania. Welcome, Pam. Pam is the sacred warrior of the Rainbow Prophecy. She walks the red road. She's a gifted medicine woman, galactic shaman. She anchors the new earth energies as a way shower into the earth as an earth guardian and as a spiritual wellness coach who carries the ancient wisdom and the understanding of how all living things are connected and meant to coexist in the great web of life. She also is one of the other show hosts. Her show is called Enlightening Conversations with Pam Silver Eagle, heard on Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And my other fabulous guest is my good friend Joanne Gall, who's up in Nunde, New York. Just visited her, and she was so gracious to have me. Joanne is a former EMT, wife, mother. She is a powerful, powerful shamanic earth goddess. She's a divine oracle of spirit, bringing ceremonial healing to the earth and humanity by using crystals, rainbow color frequencies, and sacred sound healing, as well as much more. So welcome, Joanne. Welcome, Pam.
Hey, everyone.
Hi.
Hey. We're back again. I think it was, let's see, I came home on July 1st. And we were all together doing sacred ceremony there in Erie, and now it's the 13th. It seems like it's been a while, so a lot has transpired. I went on my journey. I left June 26th, I believe. I came back July 1st, and it seemed like it was a really long time. A lot had happened on that trip, and it seemed like it was a time warp. So anyhow, it was an amazing trip, and I want to thank you again, Joanne, for hosting me, and you were actually the inspiration to bring me there. So, Joanne, I'm going to start with you first and ask you a little bit about how this all got started. I know you heard that I was supposed to come, and we were supposed to do some earth activations. You might want to show the Moses stick and introduce the Moses stick, if you would.
Sure. This is the Moses stick. And this stick came to Lea, actually. It's Lea's stick, and it travels around from place to place. And we use it during our ceremonies with Earth Mother. And Lea uses it when she does channelings and gatherings. And it is always very interesting what comes about. In fact, it was, I found out 2 years ago from a woman who said, my grandfather made that stick. And this woman was from the Abenaki tribe up in Vermont, New Hampshire area, the White Mountains. And she recognized it. And I mean, I had been brought together with her by just, circumstances that were beyond my control. It was very interesting. But so then we knew, and his name is T-Bear. He was chief of their tribe, and his name is T-Bear. And he is in spirit, and I believe he does come in and guides us. In fact, Lee, I realized, when you brought in the last gathering we had up in Erie, and you said the bear tribe. The bear tribe is here. It didn't even connect with me until a few days later. And actually, Linda's the one who said, T-Bear, the Moses stick brought the bear tribe. I'm like,
Oh, okay.
oh, yeah,
All right.
cool.
Yeah, because I didn't know.
No.
Yeah, I'd never worked with the bear tribe before. I'd never
Well,
channeled the bear tribe.
Actually,
That's
you did.
amazing.
You did. I'm gonna remind you, Lee. Remember, you channeled the bear. It was the bear clan. I'm thinking it's the same, but you can discern that.
Oh, for
When
you? When I
yeah,
did for you?
the bear clan council before I took my trip out to the Southwest. I don't know if it's the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's the connection. I mean, that's amazing. It's just amazing.
So,
So,
Joanne, you had invited me to come because you felt like we had some work to do. And I wanted you to
yes.
briefly talk about the Iroquois Nation and just give us a little history of that. And then I know Pam has a lot more history in terms of her sacred work as a medicine woman as well. But can you tell us a little bit about the premise of really what we were doing the last few, those few days from June 27th to July 1st?
Yeah, we've been, I believe, we've been doing a healing that needs to take place in this area. I live in the Finger Lakes area, central New York, western New York, and I'm very close to Letchworth State Park, which was all Seneca land. The property that I live on was once a Seneca. There were 2 Seneca villages there. And the Iroquois Federation came together, to bring peace and to the area. And I believe that is what we're working on. We're helping to bring the Mother Earth peace back to the planet. A balancing of the Mother, Father, God energies. So the divine blueprint for humanity and the earth can come to fruition and be the future for our children and the planet. And go ahead there.
Oh, I was going to say, and for the United States of America, because our country was founded by our founding fathers for liberty, justice for all. And things have gone chaotic and awry here in the United States of America. So we were called together, Pam, yourself, and I called together to bring that energy of unification and to bring that energy of peace back where things had gone awry, because Spirit had told me many, many times before that our country really is the land of unification and liberty and justice and freedom for all people. And yet we have gone astray through separation. And so what's happening now currently in our civilization with this pandemic is there's a lot of fear, and there's a lot of even greater separation. And so how interesting it is that we were called together to come back into the Iroquois Nation to again bring unity and to bring peace and to reunify for not only our country, but yes, for the earth and for all souls. So Pam, I'm going to have you jump in and fill in some pieces there.
Yeah, it is so. I'll start a little bit with, years ago for me, before I really even remembered who I am and why I've come, is I was actually born and raised in this area. And, I graduated from Seneca High School. And I know I've talked on my program, on my Enlightening Conversations with Pam Silver Eagle on Tuesdays, that I know the property that I lived up until, I guess I was about 4 when we built the property. And it's what I refer to as my homestead. We just moved my parents out of there, I think it was 2 summers ago. And we lived very much in a clan, a small clan, albeit, but a clan my grandparents to us. And so I I mean, I know that the soul contract and the soul union of my family this lifetime, we brought that in from other lifetime as the indigenous ones in this area, and perfect that we landed, and obviously divine order on that property that was very familiar to our souls. And so as we go, and when I graduated college and I moved to Florida, where I was a physical education teacher, athletic coach for about 30 years until I retired. This place I would come back almost every summer, or maybe every summer, and the land speaks to me. I feel as part of it, although no matter where I go, connected with Earth Mother, I always knew there was something special about this particular area. And this year I came up for Christmas, and here I am, July. Merry Christmas.
Christmas in July.
Christmas in July, and all divine order. And Lea, interestingly enough, is in the space where she grew up. And Joanne, where did you see? Did you grow up here?
Yep.
Yes.
We've all been brought to
home. I was born here.
There you go. So we've all been brought to our roots of our roots,
exactly.
and familiar souls in agreement to come together to do this work. I've been, just I suppose getting downloads the last few years about studying the indigenous ones of this area, and it really resonated. And when I came up, I think it was last summer, I started, Corn Planter was whispering in my ear, and he was one of the great chiefs in this area down in the Allegheny Mountains and the whole Kinzu area that was flooded out, and the Army Corps of Engineers built the whole Kinzu Dam. And so I've done some healing work there. And then Joanne and I really, we've not spent a lot of time together. And just this last couple of weeks, really a lot of conversation and sharing. And it turns out she has done some healing work down there with the land in the Kinzu area. And so has her sister Linda. We're going kind of into that same area, and I know I'll be have been being called back down there. So again, we're what I'm seeing is the great convergence that comes together in what we know is the area of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Now it's the convergence, the three rivers. Well, we are converging as well as souls to do this deep work with the land, and it goes back to what Joanne have been speaking of. We are the peacemakers. We are pure souls that have come in with these very sacred gifts and remembrance of the lifetimes we've walked, and the councils we've sat in with great chiefs and faith keepers, and knowing that this was our way before, and this is the Rainbow Warrior. We've come back, and to do this work at this time, it was foretold in the White Buffalo Catwoman prophecy, which is of the Sioux Nation, which I've also been part of. This
Pam,
is.
can you tell us who? I'm going to interrupt you for a second. We're talking about Corn Planter. Can you explain who Corn Planter was and the importance of Corn Planter?
Yeah, and Joanne, you can maybe help me out a little bit. So Corn Planter, was he? I think he was a chief, wasn't he? Joanne, I think, I'm not positive, but
I believe so. Yes.
He had this land in the part of the Iroquois were down in that Allegheny area, what now again, it was supposed to be an agreement, but the government, the growing U.S. government came in and basically once again took over the land that belonged to the guardians, the ones that Earth Mother had entrusted and the ancestors entrusted, the people the indigenous ones. And we're seeing it take place all around the globe right now, from the rainforest to, I was just saw an article yesterday on Facebook, the Congo, and this really just hurt my heart. These rangers who were protecting the gorillas, and they were killed about a month ago or so in an ambush because of the poaching. So these rangers who protect the gorillas and had a heart connection were killed, and so many of the Earth Guardians in the Amazon. We know there's so much medicine, natural medicine, and that the Earth Guardians there hold that in such a sacred way. And they've been, being taken out because of the log industry and the big corporate. We can look at, again, we just had a big victory with Standing Rock and the oil, the pipelines. And so this really, all this work is, this is what I call true justice. It's coming to fruition. And, Corn Planter had that area and his people, and it was stolen from them basically by the U.S. government and flooded. And Joanne, this may be a good time if you want to share what you
Yeah.
were with me.
Well, I believe it was during JFK's presidency that, and many dams were being built around, the United States at that time, and land was being taken away from the indigenous people. And he made the decision to take the land. It was this treaty, from what I believe, and what I've read, was supposed to be like forever. This was something that was never supposed to happen. And they took the land. There were many towns and villages in that area. The Kinzu area is a huge area in the Allegheny and then into Pennsylvania region. And they relocated them. They did not move their burial grounds. They, flooded the towns, flooded their burial grounds. It was a really devastating thing for the Seneca people that had to be relocated and all that. And we're helping to heal that now, I believe. And so we're just going wherever we're guided to go.
I did.
And
that's why you called me to come.
Yes, that's why I called Lea.
And that's how that all began.
I just said, just get on a plane and get here. There's some reason you need to be here. And then we got direction. Lea was guided to read this book, and then we ended up, we went to Rock City. And Lea indicated where we needed, we weren't sure where we were going to do ceremony. And I was there last summer doing ceremony, like a preview of this, anchoring in the rainbow energies and so Lea, we got down in there and she said, this is it. So we're like,
let's back up for a second. I want to back up for a second. So then we'll go into that.
Sure, hon.
So when I first got there, what happens when I go on these trips is I channel information, and then I get the download of what we need to do. So that first morning when I was there, after I flew in, I was told about the Iroquois Nation and how there was injustice and that we needed to go to Mount Morris. And I never really understand fully what I'm receiving, but I brought that information to you. You said this was a part of the Iroquois Nation. Mount Morris, they have a mural there that someone had painted. And on the mural, it said liberty, justice, and freedom for all. And so we actually did a ceremony there with the book, the Divine or Sophia Code, which is the energy of bringing in the Divine Feminine Mother to help nurture, anchor, and bring the energy of the Sacred Mother back in to bring balance to that area. So that was really kind of how that started before we went on to Rock City. Right. But do you want to share something about Mount Morris, and then we'll go on to Rock City?
Mount Morris is the birthplace of the Pledge of Allegiance. Francis Bellamy lived in Mount Morris, and he wrote the Pledge of Allegiance in Mount Morris. Oh my God! I mean, I'm just covered with goosebumps. It's like. And then this beautiful mural was painted on the side of two buildings 2 years ago. And it depicts children of different races and colors, and it has the Native Americans on it. It has a golden eagle on it. It has Francis Bellamy. It has Letchworth State Park, Mr. Letchworth, people in our area that were very instrumental. They were humanitarians and loved Mother Earth. Mary Jemison, she was called the White Woman of the East, and she was taken captive by the Senecas, and then she was instrumental. She married a Seneca. And again, bringing together, that's like bringing together the white people and the indigenous people, and she lived their ways, and her home was Letchworth State Park. This mural, the energy from it, I had never really gone and stood in front of it because, I mean, it's huge. And we stood in front of it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Lee, I can feel this love and peace and all this energy emanating from this mural. I mean, it was
from all the people that had contributed.
Yeah, from all the people in it.
So that was day one. That was our first day.
That was the first morning.
Then we're going to fast forward here, because actually tomorrow we're all going to be on Pam's show, the Enlightening Conversations with Pam Silver Eagle. This is going to be a 2-part series, so we're going to chronicle these activations. So Joanne, again, then we went on to Rock City. I think that was on
the next day. That was on Sunday.
The next day, Sunday, and Pam joined us. And I hadn't seen Pam, since December when we were in Florida, and of course I hadn't seen you since we've been in Florida, and so it was all converging together. I remember calling Pam and saying, "Guess who's going to come see you?" And she's like, "Who?" I said, "Me." And so I hadn't seen you in 6 months. So here we are at Rock City in Olean, New York. Okay. No. So, Joanne, briefly explain what Rock City is, and then Pam, go ahead and start talking about that activation that you did there, because Pam did a fabulous ceremony, a powerful, powerful ceremony.
Rock City is this magical place, with these gigantic rocks that you have to go down a stairway, like 12 stairs, go down into these rocks, and then there's like passageways you walk through, and these rocks are massive, and they're made from this is a unique place on the planet. They're made from it's like in the rocks are quartz crystals, little like they call it like a pudding mixture of quartz crystals, and they're all embedded in these rocks. And there is no other place on the planet like this. This is a special area where this geology takes place, with this quartz crystals embedded in these giant, black rocks.
And they were formed by glaciers. Is that correct?
Well, no. It was an ancient sea at one time. That area. Yeah, it came from, once the waters receded, the Great Lakes area and much of New York State at one time, and millions of years ago, was a sea, was a giant sea. So
it's a powerful vortex down there. That's for sure.
It's a powerful vortex. Yes.
Yeah. And Pam, go ahead. Yes, exactly. Yes, we got our picture with Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Pam, go ahead and jump in. Yeah. So we're going down the trail, and there's a steep incline, and I said, "Hey, you go first," because I'm like, "Hey,
you go first, and if you don't make it, I'll send the family a postcard." Yeah, we had a lot of fun. First of all, Joanne was leading the way. She'd been down there before, but nevertheless, it's. First of all, I just want to say it's such a joy and an honor to be working with these two. We've been together other lifetimes and all different capacities. Joanne and I had a realization after we came up to Erie and did a ceremony before Lee left. That we've also been pirates together. So, there's so much history up here. I don't want to get too far off the topic, but
I know
that was part of what we had talked about with this whole New York State area, and how, really when the tall ships came across the sea, and it was a gateway of the Statue of Liberty. And we can talk more about that another time, because we infuse that also into the Ascended Mastery teachings. And I talked, I think it was last week on my show, about how all these teachings, they really do just all come together, whatever it is you're tuning into, whatever, sacred helpers, as long as it's of love and light, it's all the same. And that's the beauty of it. So, here we are in this area that, and Joanne, we talked about even the different spiritualities that, infused, came in from other countries, of course, and as a gateway. So
it is a gateway.
And you had brought that book, and you were feeling corn planter, and you brought that book with you, and you read from that book. That was really, really powerful.
I've got to, we all receive our guidance in different ways. So I've got to just share, because this is fun. a quick version of days leading up to, as we were having these conversations, and I now knew that Lea was coming to the area, and I was going to go up and join the two of them. We didn't know where yet. And I was helping my mom around a couple months ago with planting all the flowers and stuff here around the house I'm staying with them in right now. And I was with her, and I said, Mom, I said, I was going to pull some of these out, but I didn't know if they're your flowers or weeds. And I said, so I didn't want to touch them till you could be here with me. And she said, well, you can, those are just weeds. And I was feeling that, no, there's something more to it. So I walked over and I gently pulled one of the clumps up out of the ground, and there's roots of corn. And
wow.
So we're birders, so we have a lot of bird feeders and so forth. And that's plentiful chippy harvest this year. All the times I've been in the woods, they're just everywhere. It's like whatever it is, where it's an abundance of chippies. So they, of course, cache things away for another time. And I know that they are the planters. They're the corn planters. So I was hearing, and I said those words to my mom. I'm like, they're the corn planters. And she kind of looked at me. She goes, well, pull them out. I said, no. I said, I'm going to do sacred ceremony with them. And she was looking at me, you're crazy. And then as I talked to the two of you, and Joanne and I talked more about the whole piece of the Allegheny and the reservoir and the Iroquois, and I went, it's corn planter. He's with me again, because he was guiding me. I started saying earlier in the show that, even a year or so ago, I was guided to corn planter and who he was and what had happened there. So I know he's been showing me different fun ways like this that he's with me. And so when we were there at Rock City and we arrived to the space, and Lea could just feel the energies there. And I didn't know it because it was my first time. Joanne has been there in the past. And I'm tuned into the energy field, of course, and Joanne, and we both knew, we trusted Lea, and I could feel the energy. So we started setting up our sacred place, and Joanne set up the altar, and I had my sacred flute with me and knew I was to take. And Joanne, you want to talk just a little bit about your sacred cloaks, your wings, real quick?
The wings, yeah. I use these beautiful multicolored wings.
They're very beautiful.
Yeah, very powerful. And when people put them on, it's like it transforms them. So Lea put the wings on, and I had a pair, and Pam's like, well, I'm not sure. I'm not getting to wear them yet. They're for me later. It's okay. So she gets up on the pulpit, and Lea was, and I've got the camera. I'm taking pictures because I heard, you be the documenter. You take pictures. So I'm taking pictures, and Lea is over there.
I'm going to do the timeout real quick. So, and I know those of you who know me know that I hold ceremony in a very, very sacred way. It is of my beingness. And so when I heard Joanne, I was already tuned in and praying with flute, and I heard her say, I'm hearing take pictures. And the first I was going to say no. And then I was receiving, no, it's okay. This is to be documented. And so I just let her do her thing. And go ahead, Joanne.
Yeah. And that really is the first time I've ever really taken pictures. I don't usually take pictures where I'm doing ceremony, but that time needed to be documented.
Yeah.
So
and then we drew a crowd.
We were drawing a crowd, right? Children and families were listening, and I mean, it was amazing. But Lea with those wings, and that's the first time you've had those wings on, right?
Yeah, they were.
You
used them as a dowsing rod.
She used them as a dowsing rod. Go ahead, dear. You tell what you were told when you.
Well, in the meantime, we were drawing a crowd, and there were two friars from, I don't remember the place, that were drawn to Pam.
St.
And that was
St.
Bonaventure. So she was talking to these two men, and I had given her information prior that she would be meeting someone, and she felt that was the man she was supposed to meet. But while she was talking to them, and that's another whole story, I started tuning in and receiving guidance and using the wings, or the angel wings, as dowsing rods, and that we were anchoring and activating and realigning all the ley lines and the grid lines to the energy of Divine Mother. So as we had done that work at Mount Morris with the Sophia Code book, Anchoring the Energy of the Sacred Mother. We were there. Our purpose there was to anchor the sacred feminine energy back onto the earth plane, into the ley lines, into the grid lines, and into ourselves. And then not only was it helping the earth, but we were being empowered to step into our power. So this was a ceremonial ceremony for each of us to step forward into our power and to let go of all the lineages, ancestral lineages, but also all incarnations where we had lost our power, we were afraid to speak up. And so I know Pam had a powerful experience, but I was feeling all that while Pam was talking to these gentlemen and you were taking the pictures, and I was getting the download of actually what was happening. And then Pam, did the ceremony there on the rock with her flute, and then you were reading from the book from Corn Planter, and that was so powerful. And when you did that, Pam, it was like I psychically saw in my mind you as an Indian chief in another lifetime, talking to the people, I don't know what I say, warning, but sharing prophecy of what was to happen in the future. So go ahead and share about the book you're reading from, and then whatever else. So I know there's three of us, there's a lot of excitement, and we're reliving it in. So bear with us, listeners.
They're all receiving some transmission of all the energy that we're carrying, and of what it was and that we carry. So I spoke at length last week. I did a short ceremony, a little teaching from this book, and it's the sacred symbols. And I didn't bring it out here with me, but I was guided. I went in and I was guided right to the symbol, and it was corn woman. So I knew the whole piece of the corn planter and the corn woman, and of course how sacred the corn is to many of the indigenous ones all across Turtle Island. And so when I got up on the rock and I was praying flute, I put this symbol, and it was for a manifestation right up on the dwelling of the rock. And then I read the sacred words coming from that book for that particular ceremony. And
it was really powerful what you did.
There was a huge transmission, and I knew, I just drifted right into my old soul and my unified self, and I was speaking things and praying in my ancient language. So, I can't even tell you what all that is. I know it's sacred, and it's what flows through me. And then I was guided to, I knew on the way up that day, I was being shown signs along the way from Hawk was guiding me, and my protector guide is Hawkeye, and he was with me in one of my lifetimes here. So we were very close, and on the way up to join the two of you that day, just had some beautiful formations in the clouds, and I posted some of those on Facebook. And then like I said, this big hawk came swooping down and just went like this towards my windshield, pretty close, and then soared up and away. So I was giving gratitude and thanking Hawkeye and for the messenger, and knowing that it was going to be a big day, not just for myself, but whatever the three of us, for each of us, but also what we were doing to bring these energies in for the earth plane, for Earth Mother, and for all living beings. So after we completed that ceremony, then I was guided to a more personal ceremony. I only shared just a little bit of it, but it was a huge transformation, and it was a ceremony I've done many times, certainly as a member of the Sioux Nation, and it was a sacred eagle dance. And when I was out, I do have a picture or two posted on Facebook of that. The energy is just amazing. I had actually the Moses stick that Joanne is holding, these very sacred staff in hand. And when I was out on the rock and I was finishing up giving my gratitude in my sacred dance, my prayer. So the dance is prayer, yeah. That Joanne took this one amazing photo, and you cannot, it's the light out, is just the light coming in. The source light is so powerful. And you can see my arms. At this time, I did have one of the sacred cloaks on that Joanne brought, and you can probably kind of make that out in the photo. But what you see in my right hand is this sacred staff, and the cool part is where my head is now missing. This sacred Moses stick, but
What?
it had shapeshifted into what I
Okay.
perceived as the eagle,
Eagle.
and that was in the place of where my head would sort of be in proportion to the photo. So a lot of good
We're like,
stuff going on.
what is
And
this? Where's her head?
I think if we would ever in our humanness pretend with ego to know all that's going on, we would be, really doing an injustice. And so again, I hold all this in sacred way. And what I said was, I'm so grateful to be sharing in the friendship, the sisterhood, and this sacred work with the two of you, because it it is really special when you can share without ego and you can trust. And when you're doing this kind of work, I mean, trust deeply what the others are, speaking, we receive the validation when one speaks, but it's knowing that in the sacred realm and in all of, I want to say, even galactically, that we've got each other's back and that we can fully trust, because you wouldn't, for those of you, I don't, who all may be with us or who will be watching in the future, there's so many of you that are also light workers and healers, but there's things can get a little wonky, and you have to really pick and choose who you're walking with in the sacred way, and especially when you're doing this work, it's really, really important. And
we've had a lot of lifetimes where we've been persecuted and misunderstood. And I remember when you were doing that, I don't know if you want to jump in, Joanne, with that, but I remember channeling at the end, or I said, I see you, I see you.
Yes.
And so it's really important, like you're saying, that we see each other, we honor each other. We were seeing, for me in particular, I was seeing you as a Native American in your power, and then I really see you. So it doesn't really matter if people don't understand or don't understand. It's a matter of stepping into your power, doing what you need to do, because what happened was we were doing that, in the open. People were walking by. Nobody really bothered us. And then at the end, these little girls, 3 little girls, clapped. We didn't know what they were watching, but they were clapping. And then Joanne gave crystals. So whoever wants to jump into that.
Yeah. I just, sorry, Joanne. I taught for 30 years ish, and I continue on greater platforms now. So I'm really tuned into animals and children, of course, because they see, and so many of them are tuned in, and these beautiful young girls, and there was a family so sweet of them, but then there was another family that came by too, and they're so tuned in, and at first I could see them when I was up on the rock playing flute. They kind of peeking around, like eyes coming up over the boulders. And I saw the parents walk by, and then pretty soon they realized, well, the kids aren't following them. So the parents came back, that they were, so many of these young children now, and I've talked about this on some of my other episodes, some of my other sacred shows, that so many of these children are being held by conscious parents so that they will fully be able to be nurtured and remember who they are and remember their gifts and their sacred connection, and not have to do all the work that we've had to do to bring it back into us and go through so much trauma. So those girls were so tuned in, what they were seeing and hearing. They knew that they were drawn to be with us. And Joanne, if you want to share about a little bit about your crystals.
Your crystals.
Yeah, I give crystals out wherever I go. These crystals are from Hot Springs, Arkansas, and I go out there and get them, and then I'm just directed to give them to people, and it's amazing. I say this is a healing crystal, and it's for your healing, it's for Mother Earth's healing, and for humanity's healing. And every time I give a crystal to whoever it is, they're like, oh, how did you know this? I need this or that, or I just found out, someone has cancer or this or that, or, it's just amazing. And Lee, she saw this when we went to Watkins Glen. A woman, she was afraid of heights.
Yeah.
And she was terrified. And because of the COVID, it's a one way, and we have to walk down in Glen, but then to get out, you had to go up a bunch of stairs, and you're way up above. And she's like, I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm afraid of heights. And her family was really concerned. And so I gave her a crystal, and she knew what it was, and she held it. And I said, this is going to help you to release that fear. Release that fear. There's nothing to be afraid of. You can do this. And then we saw her later, and
she shifted.
She had shifted.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And also with these wings, with the color frequencies, and I use them in every ceremony. I take them with me wherever I go.
They're really beautiful.
And now I have light up ones for the nighttime. And people are attracted to them, and children and adults, children especially, they just put them on, and it's like they're transformed into this little butterfly flying around, and that's like Pam with her flute. People are attracted and tuned into these frequencies now. The frequencies of sound and the frequencies of color that is what's helping to heal us now. So that's very important to have that be part of our ceremonies, and people just love it. They stop and they watch and they listen, and it just it's speaking to their soul. That is speaking to their soul or their higher self, and it's part of all of us waking up. So
I think we lost Pam. I don't know if she's coming back in or not, but we'll just continue on. Hopefully she'll reconnect with us. And like I said, I think she's coming back in.
Yeah,
just landed.
Oh, it disappeared.
You had to fly away for a minute.
Yeah,
you had to fly away for a bit. We were just talking about the crystals.
Yeah.
Yes,
we were talking about the crystals and how powerful the crystals were, and how people relate. So for that particular day, when we were in Ocean City, Rock City. We each were doing our thing. Like I said, I was picking up the energy of the ley lines, the grid lines, holding the space of the Sacred Mother to connect to the crystalline core of Mother Earth. And Pam was using the flute and bringing the what I call the activation or declarations of energy forward. And Joanne was holding the energy of the frequencies of the rainbow color frequencies and the love and the crystals. And so people were responding to that. And so I know that really energized us, and that we did some amazing work there. And then we fast forwarded. I know we just have about 15 minutes left, and we have our show again tomorrow. But then we moved on to do the work I was called to teach a class on my 12 Mastery Teachings class in Erie, Pennsylvania at Stoneworks Wellness Center. And that's where I heard the Bear Tribe was coming in. And I used the Moses stick to bring the activations and the teachings of the Christ teachings there at Erie. And what was interesting was, because of the COVID, we had to be spaced out and people were wearing masks. And so by the time the end of class, it was like, people were relaxed, they were more comfortable, they were responding to the energy. We did an anchoring, or what had come through that evening was I had channeled the energy from Christ, and I could feel this unified force field of energy coming onto the planet, into the room for all of us, that we were now being downloaded with this new frequency of sacred protection, that because of the chaotic times and what is happening in the world, that we were given this force field of energy that was like a protective shield of energy. So I know Pam, you were feeling it. I know Joanne, you were feeling it. Do you want to share about that? And then, maybe tomorrow we can move on to what happened in Prescott.
Prescott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you recall what you were feeling? I know that I was definitely in an altered state of consciousness.
Yeah, and agreement. The same true for myself. And I know at the end, after you got done channeling Christ, and I told Lea, I was talking to her a little bit before we went on the air, that I was guided. I woke up about 5 o'clock this morning, and Christ was calling me back to listen to that recording. So for those of you who maybe have not tuned in to Lee's channelings, she's got an amazing archive. YouTube, is that the best? That's the best way to connect with them, right?
Yes.
Go on her YouTube
Google.
channel. Yeah, just go on her YouTube channel and Google and the transmissions come through. No such thing as time or space. So whenever you listen or you re-listen, I knew there was some messages there for me to hear today, and it was really good. So that night when we channeled it live and we were holding space at the end, Lee, when I would just, if you go back and then I can maybe speak a little bit more, unless Joanne has something to add right there. I was going to say at the end when you were inviting anyone who was in the sacred circle that evening to come on up, anchor to
and hold the Moses stick.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And anchor and to basically affirm it for themselves, even though you were speaking it and channeling it, and everyone was able to put it into agreement on their in their own way in the circle. But then you invited people one by one to come up, and I think I know I was one of the last ones. I know it was powerful for me. Again, I was speaking in my ancient language, and it was powerful. I could feel the shift in energy, just really the protection and stepping into that new layer of our power, like you were saying, and from our ceremony up at Rock City. And so Joanne, you want to speak to what you maybe experienced in the circle?
Yeah, I felt that the angels were there. I felt the angels were just surrounding us, and I just heard they were giving us our wings. They were giving us our protective wings. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, I was just overjoyed and overcome with the energy that came in that night, and just feeling like, oh, we really need this now. Thank you. We need this to step into our power and become the sovereign beings of light that we are, and speak our truth, seek our truth, and speak our truth, and have the courage to go out and spread the word and spread our love, shine our light. Because like Lee says, we've had so many lifetimes where we were persecuted or killed, or we could not be in our power, and there was a clearing of that night too, and I mean, several of the women, they felt all of this too. I mean, it was an amazing gathering.
One lady felt so much energy. She started crying. She felt like she had to get out of there. She was not anchored. The other lady, another lady was wanting to hold the stick, because the Moses stick really is, I call it a talking stick, but it's a stick where you're able to speak and hold your power,
Right.
like medicine. That's your medicine, to be able to anchor your energy, speak your power. So the unified force field of energy that I was feeling was the energy of Divine Mother energy. And fast forward, we have just a few minutes left, but fast forward, when I left to go back on the airplane, I was reading the Sophia Code, and I wasn't understanding that book. And then when I was on the airplane, I thought, well, I'll go back and read the end part of it. And what happened, there was an activation that that was anchoring our energy into the Divine Mother energy and anchoring us. And I knew that now this book made sense to me, because what I saw that night in class was this unified force field of energy. It was the divine sacred feminine energy that was being brought to us. And so the Moses stick really was activating that energy. So we've used that Moses stick there, at Rock City to anchor the ley lines. Then we brought the Moses stick in, to Erie to use it, at the Stoneworks Wellness Center, to bring forth that energy. And then, we brought it on to Presque Isle as well. We'll talk about that again tomorrow with Pam. But Joanne, I know that you spoke with some of the other folks, and you started giving crystals out to people, and you could feel the shift of energy. You could, both of us felt when we first came in there that the energy was a little wonky, and I thought, this should be interesting. And then at the end, as you said, what we do, it all shifts. So you want to respond to that?
Yeah, when people were starting to come in, and I felt there's a lot of fear and apprehension here or something. And I sat outside for a little while, and then Lea came out, and she says, "Well, she had the stick." she's like,
"I gotta ground myself."
She felt it too.
Yeah.
She felt it too. Yeah. And then the bend, isn't that?
That's when I heard the bear tribe.
That's
when I heard the bear tribe was here.
We were sitting out there, and she's like, "Oh, okay, the bear tribe is here. The bear tribe is with us tonight." And things did definitely shift. I mean, people, they were so thrilled, and like little kids, they wanted those crystals. They're like, "Oh, where did you get these?" And they wanted me to tell them about them. And it was definitely a huge shift that happened.
And people could feel that and wanted to touch the stick, and then people were no longer separate,
right?
Because you're thinking they come in with their mask, and they came together, and that's really what all this work is about. This is about not being in separation. This is coming back into unity, not being afraid, stepping into your power. And the force field of energy, what I felt that night was it was a protective shield for us physically as well to protect us. So that audio recording is on my YouTube channel, Lea Chapin, LeaChapin. If you Google Lea Chapin from my work in from that night of, it's on my YouTube channel. That was June 30th. But that force field of energy was brought to us to protect us, not only physically, but energetically from forces. So if you're afraid of catching something, please call in the unified force field, and know that as you strengthen your auric field, that as we strengthen our auric field, that's where, for some of you, perhaps who may be new to this, we have our physical body, we have our etheric body, we have our subtle light bodies. Disease eventually forms in through these subtle bodies and eventually gets into our physical. So if we strengthen our aura, if we strengthen our subtle light bodies, then we are protected. And that was what was happening that night. It was really, 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 really powerful.
Yes.
So didn't mean to interrupt, but I just wanted to share that.
No, that's fine, dear. Absolutely. And that did go on, though, in these four bodies you speak of, our physical body, our mental body, our emotional body, and our etheric body. If those bodies are out of balance or being compromised in some way, it manifests in our physical body. That is the last place where it shows up. So it's really important to get those other bodies in balance. And that's what's going on now. That's what people are purging, their emotional bodies. The fear that we've had, the anger, the anxiety, all of these things, they're coming up. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
And Pam and her sacred flute, and you're with the crystals and with the wings, the color therapy, sound therapy, all of these alternative or holistic or whatever you want to call old medicine ways, people are responding to, just like the kids were responding that day and the people were responding. So I know we just we have a few minutes left. I know, Pam, do you want to share tomorrow what you want to bring forward as we continue part 2?
Yeah, I'd be in the flow. I think it would be fun to kind of finish off what we were doing out there at Presque Isle, and then maybe
talk
share
about how you got your stick.
Sacred Peace here. There it is. Sacred Peace. We'll talk about that, and I would like to share, a little bit about other work I've been doing, which is the same work up here for the last 6 months along these sacred shores of this really important basin of Lake Erie, and I look forward to sharing. We'll see where that goes tomorrow. But I would like, maybe Lea, you and I would even share a little bit of our sacred journey up to the Alachua County in Florida area, because that was a pretty interesting. That was our first really sacred journey together. So we'll see if that comes. But it's all, it's all related. And what I would like to say is real quick, and looking at the clock, You know, Joanne was just talking about purification, and we know that, you know, Earth Mother is purging and purifying, and humans, all living beings really are purifying. And it's so important, as I always speak it, to be out in Earth Mother, get outside, breathe in the fresh air. We hadn't had rain in this location for quite some time, and some pretty warm temperatures for here. And we had quite a deluge about a day and a half worth. And
great.
Yeah, you can smell the fresh air. It reminds us of when we all started coming out of these stay-at-home orders and there was no airplanes in the sky.
Yeah.
And now, you know, we're kind of getting back a little bit of overdoing things again. And we have the power, though, each of us, how we're going to live our lives. And so, you know, what are we taking into our body temples as far as nourishment? You know, keep it pure, as pure as you can if you want to carry the higher frequencies, because that's what this is all about. The higher frequencies is what's taking us into our ascension, is what we call other dimensions, higher dimension. You have to maintain a high frequency, or gain and maintain and keep growing. I talked about that last week, and it's all in relative to what we're speaking of, emotional, mental, physical, soul level, spiritual level. So, you know, you got to do the work. Right. And that's the bottom line. Everyone's got to do the work, and you know, we all have
to worth it.
It's worth it.
Worth it.
Yeah, and it's fun. And you
fun.
guys are going to get together, on Thursday. So Pam gets to come to Nunday, and you guys are going to Letchworth Park. I would love to have you guys back on my show again next Monday and share what y'all did, because I think this would be really fun to find out what y'all did. So listeners, we're going to continue with this format next week. That's what I've decided, if you all want to do that. So I want to say thank you. I'm going to finish up here with some promotional tools here. But thank you, Joanne. Thank you, Pam. I'll see you both tomorrow. Don't leave quite yet, but we will have part 2 of this. And we will continue on with this amazing active Earth activations that we did, and all the fun and excitement. So we're all reliving it again. You know, it's only been a few short days, you know, but here we are, and we're back together again. So these amazing goddesses are doing some powerful, powerful work. Tune in to Pam's show, Enlightening Conversations with Pam Silver Eagle, tomorrow. It's Tuesday at 2 p.m. I'll be back again next Monday. Next week. Yeah, 1 p.m. I will be back with these girls if they if they are in agreement, and we will talk about what other fun they've had. Just want to share that you can go to my website, LeaChapin.com, to get my latest book, Divine Union, The Love Story of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. It's in print, it's an ebook, and it is also on audiobook. You can get that on my audiobook. You can get the audiobook on my website. And the 12 Master Teachings of Christ. This is what I taught when I was in Erie, Pennsylvania. I am teaching this again this coming Tuesday, June 21st at 7 p.m. It's a teleconference class I do once a month, going through the various chapters. Then I channel a fresh message from Christ each week with on that teleconference class. And the lesson I will be teaching next week will be on the lesson of hope, which is the acronym Help Our People Evolve. And then I'm also teaching 2 intuitive development classes. Those are already in progress, but if people have any interest in developing, I lost my earbud, in connecting to their own intuition and accessing their own psychic and intuitive abilities, I do teach those intuitive development classes. I've already taught 2, and I'm teaching 2 more. Those are really fun. People are really receiving a lot of awakening in those classes. And every Monday morning, I channel Mary Magdalene, the mystical teachings of Mary Magdalene, every Monday morning in a teleconference class at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Been doing that at least for 15, 17 years, every Monday. Those are archived on audio on my YouTube channel and on my website, as well as the written transmission is on Facebook, as well as my website. So lots of things happening that you can access information. If you would like to have a private reading with me, I do have a special discount this month. Please check my website, LeaChapin.com. I work in half an hour and hour increments. I combine my ability to hear spirit as a clairaudient with my psychotherapy skills, education, and training as a spiritual counselor to help people deal with life challenges. So I work as a spiritual counselor to help people. So I want to say thank you again, Pam and Joanne, for being with me. Got a great show tomorrow. And then if you want to come back, I want to hear about all your adventures because I'm going to be jealous that I was not there. So, yeah, that's no fun. So I just got to hear about it. No fun. That's not fair. It's not fair.
Jump on a plane. Come on back.
Plane, goddess.
That's right. Or just get your wings going. Get your wings
going.
going.
Get my wings going. Yeah, get my wings going. So, all right. Everybody have a blessed week. And thanks, ladies. Thank you, Tiffany, for having this format for us. Thank you, all the listeners. God bless you. And just
share this link
namaste to each of you. Yeah. Play, have fun, and live in joy and remembrance of who you truly are. Namaste. Go in peace. Bye.
Become a Goldylocks Productions VIP patron. Receive exclusive access to live stream special and other epic perks. Join the Goldylocks Productions VIP community today.